On my 68th birthday, my son, his wife, and my grandchildren presented me with an empty gift box, then laughed, calling me empty and a pacifier. They thought they were being funny, mocking the quiet life I'd built. What they didn't know was that the joke was on them, and the real gift I was about to give them was a reckoning they'd never forget. Before we jump back in, don't forget to subscribe while you're listening, and let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Now, take a breath and listen closely. This is my story. They gave me an empty box for my 68th birthday. April rain beat a lonely rhythm against my Lakewood kitchen window. For 40 years, this house, this quiet hum, defined my life. I, Eleanor Vance, once a high school math teacher, now lived in a silence that often felt like a vast, echoing void. In 3 days, I'd be 68. My Earl Grey, long cold, sat on the phone's sharp ring, shattered the quiet. An unknown number. Mrs. Vance? Patricia from Lakewood Glamour Salon, confirming your 10 a.m. appointment tomorrow. I hadn't made one. I almost corrected her, but a strange impulse held me back. Why not? A small ripple in the still pond of my days. Yes, I heard myself say. I'll be there. Upstairs, my closet held rows of practical muted colours. Deep within, a sky blue dress shimmered. Arthur had given it to me. Matches your eyes, he'd said. 10 years gone. A sudden heart attack. Sometimes, his presence still lingered in every corner of this house, a constant ache. His photo stood on the mantel. Do you think they'll come, Arthur? I whispered. They. My son, Mark, 42. His wife, Serena. My grandchildren, Olivia, 16, and Leo, 12. 3 months since Christmas, our last awkward gathering. Serena's irritation, Mark's distance, the children glued to their phones. It was a familiar sting. Mark, once my inseparable boy, now existed across a widening chasm. I'd poured my life into him. Homework, soccer games, bedtime stories. Arthur used to joke about my fierce love. Then high school brought a bad crowd, dropping grades, a sneer. College matured him. Then came Serena. Beautiful, ambitious, with a sharp edge. Their wedding was a lavish spectacle. Even then, Serena made it clear. Mark's family was now her family. After Arthur died, the bridge connecting us crumbled. Mark's visits grew rarer. His calls rushed. Last year, on my birthday, only Serena's curt text. Happy birthday, Eleanor. Busy. Call soon. They never did. The rain intensified. I scrubbed, vacuumed, polished. The relentless work dulled the ache of my shrinking world. My life confined to these walls. My only son indifferent. My grandchildren becoming strangers. I pulled out old photo albums, searching for the moment it all went wrong, finding only a slow, quiet erosion. Then, a sudden knock. Clara, my neighbour, a true friend, stood on the stoop, shielding a container of steaming chicken noodle soup. Felt like a soup day, she announced. Her 72 years worn with vibrant defiance. Figured you wouldn't be cooking. Clara, a widow like me, but surrounded by a bustling parade of children and grandchildren. We settled into the kitchen. Clara's eyes twinkled. Decided how you're celebrating? Hopefully with my family, I replied, the hope thin. Just have to convince them, Clara snorted. You let them get away with too much, Eleanor. I'd have given them a piece of my mind long ago. I sighed. They're all I have. She squeezed my hand. You have you, Eleanor, and that's a lot. Remember that. After Clara left, I stood by the window. Clara was right. I had let them. A cold resolve pushed me. I picked up the phone, dialed Mark. He didn't answer right away. Then, his voice, curt. Mum? Something wrong? As if my call was an imposition. No, nothing, I said, forcing calm. Just wanted to remind you Friday is my birthday. Thought you, Serena, and the kids could stop by. A muffled pause. Serena's sharp whispers in the background. Look, Mum, he finally said, more determined. We've got a lot on Friday. Serena has a big presentation. Olivia has play rehearsal. And Leo? I understand, I interrupted, the familiar ache in my chest. No big deal. Maybe the weekend. Another pause. More whispers. Actually, Mark's voice brightened. We could stop by around 2 on Friday, for a couple of hours. A gasp caught in my throat. Really? That's wonderful, Mark. I'm so excited. Maybe I'll make something special. What does Leo like? Is Olivia still vegetarian? Mom! His irritation flared. Doesn't have to be anything special. We'll just congratulate you, give you a gift, and go. Packed day. Of course, I understand. I quickly agreed, desperate not to scare this rare opportunity away. Anytime that's convenient. Okay. His tone softened almost imperceptibly. We'll be there around 2. After the call, a nervous energy pulsed through me. They're coming. Not out of obligation, but for my birthday. Despite his words, I would cook. Eggplant lasagna, Mark's favorite. Chocolate pecan cake, veggie salad, chocolate chip cookies. The next few days blurred in preparation. The salon, a fresh cut, a new sky blue blouse. The house, spotless. Clara helped, her jokes about Serena adding a needed lightness. You're too kind to them, Eleanor, she'd said. I always have been. My birthday. I woke before dawn. The sun, a hopeful sliver, promised a clear day. A good sign. I dressed, applied light makeup. For the first time in years, I felt visible, alive. By noon, everything was ready. Lasagna baking, cake, salads, cookies. A small vase held spring flowers. As 1 o'clock neared, nerves frayed. What if they didn't show? I braced for disappointment. Then, a car in the driveway. They're here. At 2 o'clock, the doorbell chimed. I took a breath and opened the door. Happy birthday, Mum. Mark's stiff hug, his expensive cologne. Hello, Eleanor. Serena's cold smile. Olivia, phone in hand. Leo, sullen. A familiar pang of disappointment quickly swallowed. Come in. So happy to see you. I ushered them in. Something smells good, Mark said. Then, I told you not to cook. Just lasagna, I replied, leading them towards the kitchen. Serena's eyes swept my living room. You never did renovate? Mark and I could help with a designer? It all looks so dated. I like my house the way it is, I said. So many memories. That's precisely why you need to change everything, Serena murmured. I ignored her. We sat in the living room. Conversation withered. My questions met one-word answers. Shall we eat? I suggested. At the table, the tension eased slightly. Mark praised the lasagna. Olivia conceded the salad wasn't bad. Leo took seconds. Serena picked at her food. How's school, Olivia? I asked. Your father said you were in the play. Olivia looked at me like a piece of furniture. Yes, Juliet. Premieres in 2 weeks. Wonderful. I'd love to see it. Maybe you could take me? Olivia's panicked eyes darted to Serena. I'm afraid not, Eleanor. Only 4 tickets, for us and my parents. You know how close Olivia is to Grandma Eleonora. Of course. I nodded, face flushing. I understand. I turned to Leo. Soccer, Leo. Still playing? Not anymore, he mumbled. Swimming now? You are. I didn't know. Wonderful. Arthur was a great swimmer. Mark swelled with pride. Leo got a scholarship for summer camp. That's wonderful. I'd love to see you compete. Leo shrugged. Next season, maybe. Mark said uncertainly. Next season. Always the future. Never now. The hope within me drained away. Who wants cake? I asked, rising. Chocolate with nuts. Diet, Serena cut in. Leo needs to watch his weight. I could eat a piece, Leo piped up. Small one, Serena conceded. Extra workout. As I sliced cake, Mark pulled me aside. Mum, can't stay long. Serena's meeting at 5. Kids too. My heart clenched. Less than an hour. Of course, I understand. I appreciate you stopping by. Back at the table, Serena packed her purse. Olivia on her phone. Leo picking at his cake. Time to go, Mark announced. First, a present. Serena pulled a neatly wrapped box from her bag. "Happy birthday, Eleanor." Her cold smile unchanging. "We picked it out as a family." I accepted it, a flicker of hope. "Open it," Mark urged, a strange glint in his eye. I untied the ribbon, lifted the lid. The box was empty. Utterly empty. I looked at Mark, perplexed, expecting a joke. Then they laughed. All four of them. Loud, unrestrained, cruel. "You're just as empty," Mark choked. "An empty box for an empty woman. Perfect match." Serena wiped tears of mirth. Olivia filmed my face. Leo giggled, chanting, "Pacifier, pacifier." I froze. The empty box in my hands. My family. Mocking me? Humiliating me on my birthday? "Mark?" My voice. Strange. "What does this mean?" "Oh, Mom, don't make that face. Just a joke. You were always so serious." A joke. Something inside me shattered. Then something cold, hard, rose. Anger. "You came to my birthday to give me an empty box and call me a pacifier? This is a joke? Don't be dramatic, Eleanor." Serena interjected, still smiling. "Family humor? Family humor." My voice was icy. "We have vastly different understandings of family." Serena's smile died. Mark stopped laughing, seeing my face. "Mom, don't take it personally, just wanted fun." "I didn't ask for it," I said. "Come on, Grandma," Olivia whined. "Don't be such a drag." I rose, slowly, the crumpled box clutched tight. "I think you should go," I said, quiet but firm. "You have an important meeting, Serena. I wouldn't want you to be late." They looked at each other, stunned. They'd expected tears, pleading, not this quiet, icy dignity. "We'll call you this weekend," Mark said, hesitant. "Don't bother," I said, and closed the door. I leaned against it, listening to their car drive away. Only when the sound faded did I slide to the floor, the empty box still in my hands. Pacifier. They thought of me as empty, useless. 40 years of teaching, the home I created, the son I raised. Nothing. Tears finally came, hot and raw. I don't know how long I sobbed. When they dried, I stood, knees aching. Old age wasn't just wrinkles. It was pain after sitting on the floor. I cleared the table mechanically. Uneaten lasagna, untouched cake. Evidence of my humiliation. I threw out the food, washed dishes, wiped the table clean. The rote movements kept my mind blank. In my bedroom, I sat on the bed. The mirror reflected an old woman with tear-stained eyes, wearing the sky-blue blouse. Pacifier. The word echoed. Pacifier. Pacifier. No. I was not a pacifier. I was Eleanor Vance, and I deserved better. The hurt didn't vanish, but anger joined it. A quiet, cold anger. A decision. I would not let them treat me like this again. I pulled my planner, finding a number I hadn't dialed in years. Mr. Davies, Arthur's lawyer. 7 in the evening, but I called. Mr. Davies speaking. "Hello, Robert. This is Eleanor Vance, Arthur Vance's widow. I need your help, my will, other legal matters." "Mrs. Vance?" "Of course I remember. What can I do?" "I need to see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. It's very urgent. I want to change my will. And one more thing." "Very well, Mrs. Vance. I'll expect you." I hung up, taking a deep, shaky breath. Something had ended today, but something far more profound had just begun. I would no longer be a blank slate, ignored, mocked. They thought I was empty, worthless. Well, I would show them. I tossed the crumpled box into the trash, took off my birthday blouse. This birthday was the last I would spend waiting for their attention, their love. I wouldn't wait any longer. And that was just the beginning of how everything changed. Have you ever found yourself at a crossroads, where the path behind you offered only pain, and the one ahead, though uncertain, promised the fierce liberation of self-respect? The lawyer's office felt like a vault guarding forgotten truths. Mr. Davies, still trim with his neatly trimmed beard, met me with a surprised look. "Mrs. Vance, of course, I remember you. Please sit." I sank into the leather chair. "Thank you for seeing me so urgently, Robert. It concerns my will." I pulled out a folder. "Do you recall when Arthur died?" He left me all his property. Mr. Davies nodded. Indeed. Mr. Vance was a very wealthy man. Besides your house and savings, there were substantial company shares, an investment portfolio, and that prime lakeside land. Exactly, I confirmed. And we chose not to disclose the full extent to Mark. He only knew about the house and a small bank account. That was your decision, Mr. Davies reminded me. You wanted him to succeed on his own. My mind flashed to Mark's casual suggestion for me to sell the house or move in with them after Arthur passed, his subtle relief when I spoke of my modest savings. I had believed I was protecting him, building his legacy for later. Mrs. Vance? Robert's voice brought me back. Do you wish to disclose the inheritance now? No, I stated, shaking my head. Quite the opposite. I want to change the will. I recounted yesterday's shocking humiliation. The empty box, the cruel laughter, the word pacifier. Mr. Davies's face grew grim. This is outrageous, unacceptable. Yesterday wasn't the first incident, I admitted, my voice hardening. Just the last straw. Now I want to disinherit Mark completely. He raised an eyebrow. That's a big decision. Are you sure? My gaze hardened. Absolutely. I don't want him or his family to get 1 cent of Arthur's money. They don't deserve it. The air was thick with consequence. I had built so much in silence for them, only to be deemed empty. Now the real game was about to begin. But how profoundly would this secret, once revealed, unravel their world? I don't want him to get 1 cent of Arthur's money. The words hung heavy, silencing the elegant office. Mr. Davies leaned back, his gaze steady. That's a significant decision, Mrs. Vance. Are you absolutely certain? Absolutely, I confirmed, my voice firm. They don't deserve it. My mind replayed years of neglect, forgotten holidays, dismissed phone calls, last-minute cancellations. It wasn't just the empty box. It was the death by 1,000 cuts. The constant reminders I was an inconvenience. It began much earlier, I confided, my gaze distant. Mark and Serena had always made their priorities clear. Their lavish wedding, a sea of strangers, where Serena subtly staked her claim on Mark's life, pushing his old family aside. Later, the subtle digs about my old-fashioned clothes, Serena's refusal to let Olivia see my play, Mark's casual dismissals of Leo's swimming. They saw me as a burden, a faded relic. Mr. Davies listened, his expression shifting from surprise to profound understanding. I see. This wasn't an impulsive decision. No, Robert. It's the culmination of years of disrespect. He nodded. Legally, you have every right. But your son could contest it after your passing, claiming undue influence or diminished capacity. What do you suggest? I asked, my resolve unbroken. He outlined a plan, a clause in the will disinheriting anyone who contested it, even if they won in court, and an independent medical examination to confirm my full mental capacity. We'll do everything necessary, I stated. My voice held a chilling calm. There's one more thing, I continued, pulling another document. The lakefront property. I want to sell it. Mr. Davies's eyebrows shot up. Arthur's favourite piece? You always said you were saving it for the grandchildren. Times change, Robert, I replied, meeting his surprised gaze head-on. My grandchildren have changed too. Or rather, they were raised to believe their grandmother and her gifts were worth nothing. The irony was bitter, yet empowering. This land, once a symbol of a family dream, would now fuel my own. But how quickly could I truly turn this asset into a new beginning? And what unforeseen ripples would that send through their entitled lives? I'd rather use that money in other ways, I stated, the words resonating with newfound clarity. I want to buy a new house, in another city, maybe even another state, start a new life. Mr. Davies leaned back in his leather chair, studying me intently. You've truly thought this through, haven't you, Mrs. Vance? Yes, I nodded, meeting his gaze without flinching. I spent the entire night thinking, I'm tired of being a victim. It's time to act. He began making notes, his pen scratching against the paper. Very well. I'll get started on the new will immediately. As for selling the lakefront property, that will take time. We'll need to assess its value, find a buyer. But given the location, it shouldn't be a problem. Arthur had loved that land, dreaming of building a summer house for his grandchildren. Now, it was just another asset. How long will it take? I pressed, urgency in my voice. Probate, a few days. Selling the property, maybe a few weeks or even months if we want the best price. What if we don't wait for a better price? I asked. If we need to sell quickly? Mr. Davies paused. In that case, we might be able to do it in 2 or 3 weeks. I have clients who might be interested, though the price would be below market value. That's fine with me. I nodded. The sooner the better. As our meeting concluded and I rose to leave, Mr. Davies asked, Mrs. Vance, do you plan to tell your son about your decision? A subtle, knowing smile touched my lips. Yes, Robert, but not yet. I want everything ready first. The new will, the sold property, the money in the account. Then I'll have a little surprise for my family? He nodded slowly, a hint of understanding in his eyes. On the way home, I stopped at Clara's. I needed my friend. She opened the door, dressed in a brightly coloured robe, a face mask glistening on her skin. Eleanor, she exclaimed, surprised. Not expecting you today. Come in, but don't mind my beauty day. We settled in her kitchen. Clara peeled off her mask, poured us tea, and brought out cookies. From the look on your face, she demanded, something's brewing. I recounted yesterday's shocking humiliation, the empty box, the cruel laughter that still echoed in my ears. Then, I detailed my visit to Mr. Davies, my decision to disinherit Mark and his family, and my plan to sell the lakefront property to fund a new life. Clara's eyes widened, a mixture of shock and approval. Good for you, she finally burst out. I knew you had it in you. You should have put them in their place ages ago. Her fervent support warmed something deep inside me. Are you sure about the will, though? Clara's brow furrowed. After all, it's your son, your grandchildren. I'm sure. I cut in, my voice unwavering. They don't deserve a dime. Let the money go to those who truly need it. And leaving Lakewood? She pressed. Are you serious about that? I'm dead serious, I affirmed. There are too many memories here, good and bad. I need a fresh start. Clara stirred her tea thoughtfully. You know, she mused, my sister lives in Santa Barbara. It's a beautiful city, warm climate, ocean. She's been nagging me to move there for ages. Maybe we both should consider it. My eyes widened in disbelief. You want to come with me? Why not? She shrugged, a mischievous twinkle in her eye. My children are scattered across the country. My grandchildren visit once a year for Christmas. At my age, it's time to think about warm climates and new experiences. Besides, she leaned forward conspiratorially, I don't want to miss the show you're putting on for your ungrateful son. I laughed for the first time in days, a genuine, joyful sound. It'll be an unforgettable show, I promise. We spent the afternoon discussing plans, plotting the big reveal. A dinner party, ostensibly for reconciliation, where I would drop the bombshell. You should see their faces when you tell them you sold the lot and rewrote the will. Clara rubbed her hands together. Oh, I'd pay for a ticket to that show. You'll have a front row seat, I promised, feeling a surge of power. Just give me time to get everything ready. That evening, I sat in Arthur's old study, surrounded by his books and papers. I looked at his framed picture on the desk. What would you say, Arthur? I whispered aloud. Would you approve of my decision? Arthur had always been kinder, more tolerant, more forgiving. Perhaps he would have advised me to give them another chance. But I knew, with a certainty that settled deep in my bones, that there were times when I had to put myself first. And this was that time. I started making a mental list. What to take with me into my new life. What to keep. What to give away to friends. What to simply shed. It was a strange, yet profoundly liberating feeling, like I was shedding the heavy weight of the past, preparing to leap into the unknown. My plan for retribution began to solidify. I would give Mark and his family what they truly deserved. Nothing. An empty box. And that, I realized, would be my best, most profound revenge. The bitter taste of yesterday's humiliation transformed into the invigorating certainty of a future I alone controlled, prompting the question, what does it truly take to redefine your own worth after years of silent sacrifice? 3 weeks had passed since my birthday, each day a quiet, methodical march toward liberation. My schedule became a whirlwind of meetings, with Mr. Davies, appraisers, realtors, bankers. Each signed document, each calculated sum, felt like a brick laid in the foundation of my new future. Mark's infrequent calls were brief, unenthusiastic. I answered politely, but kept them short, sensing his attempts to gauge my emotional state, his subtle probes for any shift in my newfound resolve. He never mentioned the inheritance, a silent acknowledgement of the chilling distance that now separated us. The lakeside lot sold surprisingly quickly. The company, eager to develop luxury cottages, offered a good price without hesitation. The money, a substantial sum, now rested in my account, waiting for its cue. The new will was drawn, signed and certified, meticulously outlining the redirection of Arthur's legacy to various charities, to the Lakewood Teachers Foundation, the City Library, the Animal Shelter. Not a dime would touch Mark or his family. I'd even completed the independent medical examination, confirming my full mental capacity. Mr. Davies ensuring every legal loophole was closed, every argument of undue influence preempted. A new home awaited me, a small but cozy cottage in Santa Barbara, just 2 blocks from Clara's sister's house. The offer was accepted. All that remained was the final paperwork, the wiring of funds. Everything was ready for the dramatic conclusion I'd orchestrated. Friday night, I called Mark. His voice, when he finally answered, held a clear note of surprise. "Mum, is something wrong?" "Hello, Mark," I said, keeping my voice level, void of any trace of the tension churning inside me. "Nothing's wrong. I just wanted to invite you all for dinner on Sunday." There was a pause, heavy with his unspoken hesitation. I could almost hear him glancing towards Serena, silently asking her opinion, weighing the inconvenience against the unknown. "Sunday," he finally said. "I don't know, Mum. We've got a lot to do. And the kids. It's important, Mark," I interjected, allowing a sliver of vulnerability to seep into my tone. I want to apologize for my behavior on my birthday. I reacted inappropriately to your joke, and I have some news I'd like to discuss with you in person." Another silence. The gears whirred in his mind. He was trying to decide if wasting a Sunday evening on his old mother was worth the potential gain. "Okay," he finally conceded. "We'll come. 6 o'clock. 6 will be fine," I confirmed, a quiet triumph swelling within me. "I'll make dinner. Don't bother, Mom. We'll eat before." "I insist," I said, my voice firm. "It's going to be a special dinner." After the call, I immediately rang Clara, who rushed over, her face alight with barely contained excitement. "Do you think I should wear the black dress?" she asked, rummaging through my closet. "Like a funeral. For their hopes." I couldn't help but smile at her enthusiasm. "Black would be too dramatic. Wear something casual. I don't want them to suspect anything until the last moment." "You're right," Clara agreed, a sparkle in her eye. "The element of surprise is everything." We spent Saturday preparing, meticulously. This wasn't for them, not anymore. This was for me, my triumph, my last performance on the stage of their lives. By 6 o'clock Sunday, everything was ready. The table set with Arthur's finest china, fresh flowers, and a feast. Turkey, mashed potatoes, salad, apple pie. Every dish Mark loved as a boy. The last dinner I'd ever cook for them. Clara arrived at 5, radiant in a simple beige dress, bright makeup, and a new hairstyle. "You look gorgeous," I told her, hugging my friend. I would have bought a new dress for such an event, she replied with a twinkle. It's not every day you see justice done. The doorbell chimed at 6 sharp. I took a deep breath, adjusted the collar of my blouse, and walked to the door. Mark, Serena, and the children stood on the doorstep, dressed a little too formally for a casual family dinner. My words about important conversations had clearly made them take the visit more seriously than usual. "Come in," I smiled, stepping aside. "I'm so glad you could make it." As they entered the living room, their eyes locked on Clara, and their bodies visibly tensed. "Clara?" Mark raised an eyebrow. I didn't realize we'd have other guests. Clara, my closest friend, was there at my request. The stage was set, the audience assembled, but could they ever truly comprehend the chilling script about to unfold? Or were they forever blind to the consequences of their own neglect? "Dorothy is my closest friend," I stated, my voice unwavering. Mark's face tightened. "And she's here at my request. Please have a seat. Dinner is almost ready." The tension in the room thickened, palpable. Mark and Serena exchanged quick, worried glances. They hadn't expected an audience for whatever important conversation I'd promised. Clara, meanwhile, settled into an armchair, a subtle, almost imperceptible smirk playing on her lips, her eyes bright with anticipation. We moved to the dining table. The setting, with Arthur's finest china and fresh flowers, was beautiful, but the atmosphere remained strained. I attempted small talk, asking about their work, school, summer plans. My questions met clipped answers, forced smiles, and quick glances at their watches. They were clearly impatient, waiting for my hinted apology, for the big news they anticipated. Their hunger was not for the food, but for some form of control, some reinstatement of the familiar dynamic where I played the victim. After the main course, before dessert, I decided the moment had arrived. I blotted my lips with a napkin, meeting Mark's eager gaze, then Serena's expectant, almost indulgent smile. "Mark? Serena?" I began, my voice clear. "I invited you here today because I really wanted to apologize." Serena visibly relaxed, a smug, knowing look settling on her face. Mark nodded, a slight smirk. Finally, his expression seemed to say, "She's coming to her senses." "I have to apologize," I continued, looking directly into their eyes, "for letting you treat me disrespectfully all these years, for not putting you in your place when you first showed ingratitude, for putting up with your disrespect for so long. It's my fault, and I admit it." Serena's smile froze. Mark's brow furrowed, the smirk replaced by confusion. "Mum, what are you talking about? If this is about the box, it was just a joke. We thought you'd understand." "Oh, I understood." I nodded, my voice dropping to a near whisper, yet carrying chilling weight. "I understood a lot more than you think. I realized that I mean nothing to you. I'm nothing in your eyes. And you know what? I've made my peace with that. But there's something else you need to know." I rose slowly from the table, every movement deliberate, controlled. I walked over to the secretary in the living room, retrieved a file folder, and returned. Mark and Serena watched me, their earlier impatience replaced by dawning unease. Olivia, surprisingly, even looked up from her phone. Leo, however, still seemed oblivious, poking at his uneaten cake. "Mark," I began, my voice unwavering, "did you know that when your father died 10 years ago, he left me all of his property?" Mark stared at me, wide-eyed, a flicker of genuine shock crossing his face. "Yes, of course," he stammered. "The house and some savings." Serena leaned forward, suddenly rigid with intense interest. "Not only that," I corrected, shaking my head. "Your father was a very successful man, Mark. In addition to this house, he left me nearly $2 million worth of stocks, a $500,000 investment portfolio, and a piece of prime land by the lake." The numbers hung in the air. A shocking revelation. Mark's jaw dropped. Serena's eyes, usually so cold, now burned with raw greed. "All this time," I continued, "I've kept the full extent of my inheritance from you. Do you know why?" Mark was speechless, utterly dumbfounded. "Mom, he started, but I raised a hand, silencing him. "I wanted you to succeed on your own, and I planned to pass it all on to you and your children in time." The statement hit them with the force of a physical blow, a vision of lost wealth. "All this time I've lived modestly, saving, preserving this inheritance for the next generation. But after your gift to me on my birthday, I thought long and hard, and I made a decision. I sold the lakefront property." "What?" Mark shrieked, leaping from his chair, a raw, primal cry of betrayal. "You had no right. My father bought it for his grandchildren." His face, once controlled, was now a mask of pure, unadulterated outrage, his world violently, irrevocably tipping upside down. What shocking, desperate move would he make to reclaim what he felt was rightfully his, now that his carefully constructed illusion of inheritance lay shattered at his feet? "You had no right!" Mark shrieked, his face contorted. "My father bought it for his grandchildren." The air crackled with his raw outrage. His world, a carefully constructed illusion, had just violently shattered. "I had every right," I replied calmly, my voice like steel. "The plot was registered to me, and I got a very good price for it. $1,200,000. A stunned silence. Serena's face, usually so composed, went pale, her mouth slightly ajar. Mark staggered back, clutching his head. $1.2 million? Oh my DMN God, where did that money go? Half of it went to the Lakewood Teachers Fund and the City Library," I stated, watching their faces. "Part of it funded the Arthur Vance Memorial Scholarship for engineering students." I paused, letting the words sink in. "And with the rest, I bought a new house in Santa Barbara, where I'm moving next month with Clara." I nodded towards my friend, who watched with ill-concealed amusement, a tiny, knowing smile. The room was utterly still. Mark looked as if he'd been punched. Serena sat, frozen, her eyes wide with disbelief and dawning fury. Olivia, for the first time all evening, looked up from her phone, staring at me, bewildered. Only Leo seemed more puzzled than shocked, his brow furrowed. "But that's not all," I continued, pulling another document from the folder. "I've also changed my will. According to the new version, all of my assets, this house, bank accounts, stocks, investments, will go to these charitable organizations upon my death. You will receive nothing." "You can't do that!" Serena shrieked, leaping from her chair, her voice a raw, desperate wail. It's unfair." "Unfair?" I raised an eyebrow, a chilling calm in my voice. "Was it fair to ignore me for years? Was it fair to make fun of an elderly woman on her birthday? Was it fair to raise your children to disrespect their grandmother?" "We never—" Mark began, his voice choked. "Don't lie, Mark," I interrupted, my gaze unwavering. "Not to yourself, not to me. You've been doing this for years. Little humiliations, disparaging comments, cancelled meetings. You've made me realize I'm nothing in your eyes. Well, now you know you're nothing in my will." Mark abruptly changed tactics, his voice turning soft, ingratiating. "Mum, listen, we behaved wrongly. That joke was stupid and cruel. We've realized that. We want to make amends, to be closer to you. Give us a chance. It's too late, Mark." I shook my head, the weariness in my voice profound. "I've given you thousands of chances over the years. You blew them all." "This is all because of you!" Serena suddenly turned on Mark, her face contorted with rage. "Your stupid idea with the box. I told you it was too much." "My idea?" Mark was outraged. "You were the first to say you didn't want to spend on a gift, but I wasn't the one who came up with that stupid joke." Serena was already yelling, $2 million! $2 million! And you blew it! Don't you dare blame me!" Mark yelled back. "You're the one who always turned the kids against Grandma. You're the one who always found reasons not to visit her." They continued shouting, oblivious to my presence, their true natures fully exposed. petty, greedy, selfish people, tearing each other apart over what they'd lost. Olivia began to cry, and Leo sat, head down, wishing the earth would swallow him whole. My heart ached for my grandchildren. It wasn't their fault their parents had raised them this way. Enough! My voice, suddenly firm and loud, cut through their frenzy. They froze, silenced. I can see right through you. You don't care about my well-being. You only care about money. Well, now you know there won't be any. Ever. You'll regret this, Serena gritted through clenched teeth. We'll contest the will. Prove you're out of your mind. You can try. I smiled, a cold, knowing curve of my lips. My lawyer thought of everything. There's a clause in the will that anyone who tries to contest it is automatically disqualified from any inheritance, even if the court sides with them. Plus, I've had an independent medical examination confirming my full capacity. All the paperwork is in order. You old hag! Serena choked on her anger. That's what you are. Mark finished for her, looking at me with pure hatred. Always have been. Controlling, manipulative, demanding. Dad put up with you out of pity. He told me he regretted his marriage. It was a low blow, meant to wound, to tarnish Arthur's memory. But I was ready. Your father would never say such a thing, Mark, I stated, my voice unwavering. He loved me to his last day, and I loved him. Our marriage was a happy one. The only thing we both regretted was how different you became when you met Serena, how you let her destroy our family. Don't you dare blame me! Serena shrieked. You're the one who's always prying into our lives, always trying to tell us what to do. I just wanted to be a part of your life, I said calmly. To be a grandmother to my grandchildren. But you made that impossible. And now, we're all reaping the rewards. Let's go. Mark grabbed Serena's hand. We're leaving. Kids, in the car. Olivia, still crying, hurried out. Leo followed, but at the door, he stopped, turning back. Grandma? His voice was small, uncertain. I wasn't laughing at you. Mom said it was the right thing to do. Leo! Mark yelled. Get in the car, now! The boy gave me one last, heartbreaking look, then walked out. I heard the front door slam, then the car engine start. They drove off, the sound of their departure a final, hollow echo. Clara and I were left sitting at the table, surrounded by the uneaten dinner, a heavy silence settling between us. What a show! Clara finally said, pouring herself some wine. They showed their true colours, didn't they? Yes, they had. And as the echoes of their accusations faded, did their true faces, exposed in anger and greed, reveal a pain more profound than any financial loss? The silence they left behind was heavier than their accusations, yet within it, a different kind of freedom began to breathe. What a show, Clara said, breaking the quiet. I nodded, emptiness yielding to firm resolve. They showed their true colours. He tried to hurt me, I whispered, and succeeded a little. But it won't break me. We cleared the table, each movement a small act of reclamation. I've lost them, I admitted. They lost themselves, Eleanor, Clara corrected, her arm warm. You stood up for your dignity. I clung to her words. A new life, I murmured. Clara stayed. Arthur would have been proud, she said. He never would have let anyone treat his wife like that. He'd be proud you stood up. I slept soundly. Next morning, lightness greeted me. Clara and I planned our move. Do you think they'll call? Clara asked. Mark, maybe. I shrugged. For money? My anger was quiet sadness. I'll take it, I said. But my decision is final. 2 weeks later, Tabitha appeared, bouquet in hand, feigning remorse. Eleanor, I've come to apologize. I took the flowers, didn't invite her in. It won't change anything. She pleaded to let her children know their grandmother. Her words sounded sincere, but her eyes were cold, calculating. Tabitha, I said firmly. It's too late. I'm moving to Santa Barbara. My inheritance decision stands. Her mask fell. You selfish old woman. What about their future? That depends on you and Mark, I countered, on the values you instill. Not money after I'm DMN dead. Hypocrite, she shrieked. Mark's right. His father regretted marrying you. Goodbye, Tabitha. I walked her to the door. Greed blinded them. The days blurred into departure. Goodbye, Arthur, I whispered in our bedroom. I loved you here, and I will love you wherever I go. Clara waited in the car. Ready? As ready as I'll ever be, I replied. Our Santa Barbara home exceeded expectations. Cozy, terrace garden, mountain views, near the ocean, 2 blocks from Clara's sister, Eleonora. Welcome to paradise, girls, she exclaimed. First weeks, discovery, new friends. Gordon Parker, a kind, lively-eyed former literature professor, reminded me of Arthur. You taught math, he asked. We shared books, concerts, quiet afternoons. Mark called less. Conversations brief, formal, no inheritance talk. Are you happy there, Mum? He asked once, sincere. Yes, Mark, I replied. I am. Then I'm happy for you. Too much had changed. Months passed. I found my rhythm. Volunteering, gardening, art. Clara blossomed, vibrant, free. Never too late to enjoy life, she winked. Especially when you're free of the past. I was free. I lived in the present. Then, a year after moving, a letter from Olivia. I stared, hesitant. Come on. Clara nudged. I opened it. Dear Grandma, I don't know if you'll read this or throw it away. I wouldn't blame you. But I have to write. I realize now how horribly we treated you, especially me. I was selfish, rude, ungrateful. That birthday, that empty box. I'm ashamed. No excuse. A lot has changed. Parents fight. Dad blames Mum. Mum blames Dad about the will. I found old photo albums. Dad as a baby. You and Grandpa, young and happy. Dad looks different. What happened to us? I'm graduating, going to San Diego for psychology. I want to understand why we hurt those we love. I don't know if you can forgive me. Forgive us. But I want you to know I realize how wrong we were. I'm truly sorry. If you want contact, I'd be happy. I understand if not. Love. Your granddaughter, Olivia. Tears, relief, one soul capable of growth. What is it? Clara asked. I handed her the letter. Will you answer? Yes. I nodded. But not right away. Next day, Gordon and I walked the beach. I told him about Olivia's letter. Forgiveness is amazing, he said. It frees you. It doesn't mean going back. You can forgive and still set healthy boundaries. He was right. I had forgiven them, found peace. But no return. A week later, I wrote to Olivia. Dear Olivia, your letter touched me deeply. Thank you for your courage. I don't hold a grudge. You were a child, following adults. It hurt, but I knew you didn't understand. Glad you're studying psychology. Your experience may be an asset. What happened to our family? We lost sight of what's important. Caring, respect, unconditional love. Hurts became a wall. I found a new life here. Friends, joy. I've learned to appreciate myself, my boundaries. Long journey, worth it. I'm not going back to Lakewood. My inheritance decision stands, but we can have a relationship. If you want, we can start over, on new terms. No expectations? Just 2 women bound by blood. My door is open in Santa Barbara. Call or write. Know that I love you. Always have, always will. Warmly, your grandma, Eleanor. I sealed the letter. I didn't know if Olivia would reply. It didn't matter. I was finally at peace. On my terrace, the day was clear. Warm, mountains, ocean. Roses bloomed. Life went on. A new life, built on ruins. I was Eleanor Vance, 69, who learned to appreciate herself, said no to disrespect, and started over. And I was happy. Truly, deeply happy. Have you ever found yourself in a place where letting go was the only way to find your true self, and in doing so, discovered a peace you never thought possible? Share your thoughts below. Your voice truly matters to us, and if this story resonated with you, Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tales of resilience and